All right, so I'm going to get, it's recording now, so I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I give you 5-second countdown.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Right now I'm going to introduce you to David Aldridge. David, thanks for spending the time here and allowing me to interview you.
Oh, a pleasure to be here, thanks.
So I was asked to interview you, but I don't know anything about you, so I'm going to ask you to tell me about you and why we're doing this interview here today.
I have a short film that is at the New Media Film Festival. It's called Randy Parsons' American Luthier. It's a film about a guy who's the guitar has been his identity since he was a child. So he goes to college and he realizes, hey, I'm not that good. So he gives it up. And then he has a vision one day of how the guitar is going to come back into his life.
Geez, I want to hear this whole story. I think we're going to have enough time. It sounds like a great film. Where is it being, where can people like me see it?
Well, after it runs the festival circuit, it'll be available on the internet, but right now you have to see it at a place like this.
Okay, so is it going to be played here today?
Yes, it will.
Oh, awesome! In the same building at this festival?
Right.
Oh, wonderful. What time?
That I'm not sure. I have to check the schedule. Later on, I think around 7 o'clock.
So is this your first film?
It's my first documentary film, yes.
So this is not a fiction movie. This is a real, a true story.
It is. It's about Randy Parsons. Randy Parsons is a very well-known Seattle luthier who makes guitars for Jack White, Jimmy Page, people like that.
Oh my gosh, awesome. I'm really excited that I'm here today and I'm going to get the chance to see it. So are you a native of the Bay Area?
I'm not. I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Everybody I've spoken to today is from somewhere else, including myself.
Well, it's a great place to visit, so we're all here.
So are you just visiting or do you live here now?
No, we just flew in for the day.
Oh, well, welcome. And I'm sorry if I'd known you were coming, I would have spoken to the weather gods about having a better day for you, although it looks like it's clearing up.
Well, where I came from, it was just like this.
Okay, so then you're used to that.
Yes, absolutely.
And have you done other films?
I've done some corporate work, and I used to do a sort of a new media, internet-only production about motorcycles and people that race motorcycles.
So why did this particular story inspire you to where you decided to make a movie on it?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I had finished up Peckham TV, which is a show that I was doing, and I had some downtime, so I started renting documentary movies on Netflix, and I saw this film called It Might Get Loud. It's directed by Davis Guggenheim. It had 3 of my favorite guitarists in it. And Jack White in the film refers to this guy, Randy Parsons, this Seattle luthier. And I'm like, wow, that guy lives like a mile from my house. So I walked down to a shop and I said, hey, I'd like to do a short documentary about you. And the first thing he says is, hey, I don't have a budget for that. I'm like, no, I want to make a movie about you. He goes, okay. So we started filming.
Just like that.
Just like that.
I believe in fate. I believe some things in our lives are meant to happen, and we just have to listen to those cues when we get them. Well, congratulations. I'm sure everyone will enjoy it.
I hope so. Thanks.
And is he here with you?
He's not, no.
Okay. Well, how long did it take you to make it?
Longer than I'd like to admit.
Well, I was in a movie myself not so long ago, and I know from just doing a short scene how long it takes, so I could imagine.
Yeah.
But congratulations, and I'm glad that I'm going to be able to see it. And after today, where can people see it?
Like I said, it'll be running a festival circuit, assuming that other people like this movie and make it an official selection for their festival. So after it runs that sort of thing for maybe the next year, then it'll be on the internet.
Do you have a new project in mind?
I am kind of between projects. What I need is a vacation, and then I can start thinking seriously about that. We just finished this film in September, so it's kind of been a whirlwind thing.
Awesome. So are you new at producing movies? Is this, you mentioned corporate before. Were you a corporate movie producer?
As just a filmmaker, I would say, doing corporate pieces, and yes, this is my first actual production, so it was quite a learning experience.
And was it one that you learned enough to know that this is what you want to continue doing?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I am so grateful that I got the pleasure of meeting you and hearing about this, and I can't wait to see it. And hopefully, when you make your other movies, I'll get to see those also. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be seeing you guys around. Okay. I'm about to speak with Randy Bellis.
Hi.
I just heard him on a panel discussion, and he's an awesome guy, so I'm going to just have him share with you who he is and why he's here today.
Well, my name's Randy Bellis, and I am known to do multi-camera live events, produce films for television, for corporate, for pretty much any media, but my new passion right now for the past 2 years is that I am making my first feature film. I purchased, or I acquired, I should say, the rights to a book which I absolutely love, and that has drawn together some of the best and the greatest movie makers in town to want to participate with me to make this. And so when I met up with Susan, who runs this wonderful festival, I told her if I was going to be on a panel at all, I'd like to talk about passion and how passion drives films and movies and professionals into what's getting done, especially in the new media world. Because in the new media world, you're trying to get anything you can against the millions of others that are out there. And what is the one thing that's going to get your film to the right people, the right avenues, than anything else? And I think it's passion. I think that's what it works for me. I've been doing this for 20-something years, and it just motivates me. It puts the carrot in front of me instead of the stick behind me of the past. It just says the future is sucking me forward through passion, and I wanted to share that with a group of movie makers and filmmakers and people that wanted to change, to be a part of the change that's going on in the media that's going on.
I concede overwhelmingly because I am doing what I'm passionate about.
Oh, I can tell. Look at your eyes, look at your smile, look at what you do. You do it so effortlessly and naturally, and you love what you're doing, obviously.
I do. I could sleep doing this and wake up and start doing it the minute I open my eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of like a child. If you take a look at a child's life, the first thing they do, when they get up, maybe they're a little groggy, but they're ready to run and do their day, go to school and play with their friends and do this, and I got this going on and all this other stuff, and you can't put them to bed. They don't want to go to bed. They still got more of the day. They still want to get one more thing and blah, blah, blah. That's the way I feel with every day of my life, and it's passion. And if you can somehow muster that up in what you do, you wake up, oh, I can't wait to do all these things, get these things conquered, and I can't wait to finish up what I'm doing, because as soon as I'm done, I can start on the next thing. And you work all night and you sleep because you need to, not because as an excuse that you have nothing to do or you have nothing to strive for. I just want to sleep for the weekend. Give me enough sleep so I can do my things for the weekend. That's passion.
Just like the battery we were just discussing.
Uh-huh.
You have to rejuvenate it.
You do.
Otherwise it doesn't work.
You
right?
have to eat, you got to sleep, you got to be with people, you got to just have that energy all the time. Yes, absolutely.
Well, congratulations about this book and your first movie.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. The name of the book is The Richest Man in Town, and if you went to richestmanmovie.com, you'll see what the publishers did for this book. It's a story about a man, true story, of a man named Marty, who lived in Brookings, South Dakota, in around 2000, about 11 years ago, and he worked at Walmart. He was a cashier in his 70s. He lived in a trailer park. He has 4 kids that he loves and who loves him. He has a wife that he absolutely thinks is the most beautiful woman that's ever lived, and I think that he's right. As he should, and who loves him. He thought he had everything. He has a trailer park home, he's got a job that he loves, a family that he loves, and that's it. And he thought he had everything. And what happened is, at this Walmart, no one would go to the other cashiers. 20 cashiers, no one there, maybe 1 or 2 people, and a line out the store to go through Marty's line. He changed people's life through kindness. And this started a whole thing in his life, that what he can do in 2 minutes of being with someone and encouraging their life through his love for humanity and the love that he had, that changed it. And it's a beautiful book, and I have the honor and the glorious opportunity to make this a feature film. So
I'm excited because I'm passionate about kind people. I'm a kind person, and it's gotten me far in my life. And so I completely get what you're saying, and I'm glad that this is the project you've chosen to make into a movie.
Yeah.
How far along the process are you?
Oh, way far. Well, we have. We've been offered tons of money. We've been offered all kinds of major talent, major A-list talent that wants to attach themselves to this story. We have studios that want to participate in it. We have all of the elements. We're still dealing with some of the legal stuff that goes on because we're changing and altering, and we already have the script written. The script is as true to the story as can be and is emotionally driven, and that's where we're at right now. And it's just what are going to be the players in the next month or so that's going to take this destiny to who's going to distribute it and how. So it's very exciting.
Awesome. I'm going to put some good energy out there for you.
I love that about you.
For all the dots to connect in the way you want them to make this whole process expeditious as possible.
Well,
so
thank you.
My other question for you is, where are you planning to produce it?
Well, that's up in the air. A couple of the scenes absolutely have to be done, in my opinion, with the town of Brookings, South Dakota, because that's where it is. I think that some of the major scenes need to be there, but the rest of it can be done anywhere because it takes place in a trailer park, it takes place in a Walmart, and it doesn't have to be there. And I think for the movie's sake, we'll do it in a town that has more of movie feature types of things. But I really want to do it in South Dakota. We'll hopefully do it where it is best for the film to be made. And that's the only thing I can hope for right now. But we're based in Los Angeles.
So is he going to be part of this production, or are you going to have him around while you produce the movie?
Oh, I think he's going to be a part of this. He has been since day one, and also his family will be a big part of it.
Well, I'm so happy for you, and I believe and know it will be a success, because when you describe who you are and what you're all about, I just see success written all over you.
Oh, God bless you.
And sitting in the crowd listening to you today, I was obviously very impressed, and I really wanted to interview you, so I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
Of all the people that wanted to interview me, I'm glad that it was you that I had the opportunity to be with. You're absolutely spectacular. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey, that's huge. I'm going to put that in a bottle and hang it on my Christmas tree this year.
There you go.
Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi there. How
Tim?
are you doing?
Very good.
How are you doing today? It looks like a great event we're having here today. And I was asked to speak by Randy, a friend of mine who's working doing publicity. So fire away. What would you like to know?
Well, it's been an educational morning for me. I've learned a lot from the panel that we just heard. And so I wanted you to tell us how you're connected to this event and why you're here today.
Well, I've been working in the post-production area of motion pictures for probably 30 years or so. I started actually on a cartoon show called Ewoks.
Oh.
Cartoons, a Lucasfilm cartoon series. From there, I went to work for almost 18 years for a company called Industrial Light and Magic, starting on Roger Rabbit and a lot of Bob Zemeckis movies, Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, and new mocap movies, Christmas Carol, Beowulf, A Christmas Carol, Polar Express. So, but I have my own personal project, which I've been working on for more or less 20 years, which I was interested. One of the panelists was just talking about passion as a necessary ingredient for success. So I've been working on this, what I call a multi-platform transmedia proposition about an inventor named Nikola Tesla. My partner wrote the definitive biography. So we have an epic biopic, a television science fiction time travel series, a dome show, and a rock opera that we've developed. So the idea of media these days is you can't pull out all your eggs in one basket, so our proposition is an all-encompassing array of ancillary projects around the King's Speech for Geeks, which is how we're pitching the Tesla project, The Lost Wizard. What more can I say?
Fascinating. I'm seriously fascinated.
Here's the book. My partner's biography of the inventor Nikola Tesla, who's the inspiration for Tesla Motors, among other things, the rock band Tesla. It's a great book. It's recommended by the American Academy of Sciences. You can see our website, theteslamovie.com, where you can learn all about the project. And just yesterday, I Googled Tesla popularity, and I found a website that said the top 10 most important historical stories which should be made, and the number one story was Nikola Tesla. So one-stop shopping, we got it all.
Wow, that's all I can say is wow.
Everybody's got to have a hobby.
Well, it sounds like you've got more than one, and what I admire is that you obviously found your passion early in your life.
Well, it's a funny thing how these things unfold. I read a magazine article when I graduated from film school, and I went, why doesn't anyone know about the guy who invented all these amazing technologies at the heart of modern society and civilization? So it's sort of become a bit of a overload. I wish at this point, frankly, I'd never heard of the guy, but I'd like to move on to something else. We've been working on this for almost 20 years, but I think we're getting close right now.
So have you always lived here in the San Francisco Bay Area? Because a lot of the movies you've mentioned that you've worked on, as far as I know, were produced in Los Angeles.
No, actually, I've lived here for 25 years, more or less. I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. So I've always lived in Marin since 1984. I did have to commute to Los Angeles for 5 years. And then Disney built some hangars up in Novato, California for the director Bob Zemeckis to do mocap movies at, but they shut those down. So currently I'm also trying in my part-time endeavors to create a film colony or a media hub at these state-of-the-art hangars that are sitting empty for the next several years until they actually have to remove all of the film production assets. So it seems like a prime opportunity for the Bay Area media production community to leverage the existence of this facility. But you know, it's a very, it's out of my area of expertise. I'm trying to put together what I call a core creative team of people who can effectuate in various disciplines.
Wow. Again, wow. You know, somehow we associate companies with certain areas. For some reason, in our minds, we just assume that these are the only places where these things can happen.
You mean Los Angeles?
Right.
Yeah.
As in movies, we always think it has to be done in Los Angeles or it can't be done.
Sure.
But I'm really excited that we're starting to, you know, create an environment here where movies can be made. I feel that there's so many talented people in this area. You shouldn't just have to move to Los Angeles to do that.
Right.
How soon do you see that happening here?
Well, I think it's a mixed bag. There still is a lot of infrastructure. I was just down in Los Angeles meeting with some people I'm affiliated with at a company on the Paramount lot. So there's something to be said about the traditional credibility about a presence in LA. Having said that, most of the people that I meet with in LA are trying to find an escape way to get back to work in the Bay Area. So on one hand, you need to establish some credibility within the traditional methodology, but on the other hand, you have to have a guerrilla sensibility and subvert the system. So what I'm trying to do is meld the best of both worlds. You have to have a core intellectual property that has a validity to it. I'm all about stories that have real meaning in the world as opposed to some buddy cop movie. I mean, there's a place for entertainment, but I'm all about, there was a word that used to be called edutainment. So I'm more of a person who finds, I grew up, a lot of people younger than myself were inspired by Star Wars, but I was inspired by Lawrence of Arabia, which I think was a great, historical story, all the David Lean epic movies that sort of transcend, they're transcendent experiences as opposed to commercial enterprises. All these movies that are animated, and not to jump on any particular one, but for instance, Puss in Boots, it's a wonderful kid's story, it's an entertaining family adventure, but it doesn't really speak to me personally because it's not really grounded in some real validity in terms of consequential situations in the world. I actually spent many years working in the environmental movement, so a lot of the stuff I'm associated with is a lot of concern about the future of the planet and civilization, so not to get too heavy.
Well, it's not heavy. I mean, it's right in line with what we're trying to talk the world into now, which is becoming green conscious.
Mm-hmm. Well, the nexus of why I've been working on this, to circle back a bit on my own promotion here, the Tesla project is very dear to my heart because, for instance, in 1900, Nikola Tesla wrote a treatise in what's called the Century magazine, which preceded Life magazine, called The Problem of Increasing Human Energy. And he was concerned that we shift from fossil fuels, which he said would corrupt the entire atmosphere of the planet, which we're seeing now.
Exactly.
And he was advocating solar power, which we're seeing now. So he was 100 years ahead of his time. So this story really resonates. It's an historical story with contemporary overtures and consequences and relevancy. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, it's a good story.
Okay, thanks.
Apart from habit, what else do you think is preventing people from becoming more green conscious? Because as far as I can see, it makes so much sense, that whole solar message, and yet some people are resisting it. What do you think that is?
Oh, well, one of the things I do is, I guess I have a bit more esoteric viewing habits than some people, but there was, for instance, I cite this one Commonwealth Club where they had the chairman of the Chevron and they had the president of the Sierra Club debating the role of oil in the next 20, 30, 40 years. And what you find in historical precedent is you have inertia within a system that mitigates against the adoption of new innovative technology. So what you really need is an inflection point where some overwhelmingly fantastic breakthrough breaks the stranglehold that all the money and the infrastructure has over innovation. So hopefully someone more educated than myself will be able to, address that. But I think it's really critical at this point, because I've been following rigorously. There's a lot of what they call global warming deniers, or anti-scientific attitude that's been promulgated by a lot of various political parties. And what you really need to do is realize that there's a law of unintended consequences. So even though CO2 demonstrably, in my opinion, contributes to global warming, one of the things that's happening right now is what's called oceanic acidification, which most people probably don't know anything about, but it's actually going to destroy all the coral reefs and all those types of things because of the increase of CO2 in the atmosphere being absorbed in the ocean. So it's just a whole array of things that people have to discipline themselves to become informed about. Hope that answers your question.
We have to continue this discussion. You are a wealth of information and knowledge that I cannot wait to hear more about.
Okay.
So thank you so much.
Sorry for hijacking your I don't know what you were going to ask me about, but I just sort of gave you some ideas.
Don't worry, we're going to be doing this again.
Okay.
Maybe at a different venue, but very
It
soon.
was very, very pleasant meeting you and
Thank you.
fantastic speaking. Okay.
Thank you, Tim. I really enjoyed speaking with you and look forward to doing so soon again.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. See you.
This is Jennylyn coming to you from the Film Festival in San Francisco, the new media film, and I'm about to speak with
Peter Mattson.
And Peter is telling us about his film that he just previewed here today.
That's right, world premiere.
And it's an animated film that's about, it's kind of sad. You want to tell us why?
Well, it's about a character who is living with some guilt on his conscience, and he has to deal with some decision he made, and he kind of he's very weighted down by the guilt, and the poor guy's pretty sad.
Well, we all know sad's never good, is it?
No, but sometimes it can be funny. That's horrible.
Well, you know what? There's always sadness in our lives, but we just have to feel sad and then move on. We don't want to be stuck in sad. So I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think recognizing sadness sometimes makes it seem a little more trivial, and you can kind of move on easier. Rather than getting swallowed up whole by it, you just you recognize it and then you just move on, smile and laugh.
I agree. And to think that you're never going to feel sad in your life, or it's not okay to feel sad or angry, I think all these emotions are okay. They're part of being a human. It's just learning to identify which emotions are negative and not give too much energy to it for too long.
Absolutely.
Just knowing when to kick it to the side and move forward, that's what's important.
Yeah, and I think my film would help you, to kick those emotions aside, because you can identify it in this character, and you see this guy's just living with all this guilt and sadness, loneliness, and you just want to kind of pick him up and say, move on, and maybe make it easier in your life.
Wonderful. So this is just one part of many other parts to come?
Yes.
And people can find it under?
The Lonely Sun. In the internet, you just search it. It's called The Lonely Sun.
Well, thank you so very much. I'm really happy to hear about this. I'm going to check it out because I wasn't able to see it inside. And it was lovely to meet you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nice meeting you, Jennylyn.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. I'm about to speak with Carlos Flores. Hi, Carlos. Thanks for speaking with me.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And why are you here today?
I'm the filmmaker of the project called seg2, and it's a short film music video about a guy who who's trying to fit into society. He's a homeless person, but he's invisible to the world, so his body breaks apart and multiplies, and nobody sees him.
Wow, what a story. Is this your first film?
No, it's one of the many films I've done, and I just shot a few 4 new short films with my new red camera, so I'm just getting ready to do my first feature next year.
Okay, you have a very strong accent. Where are you from?
I'm from Colombia, South America.
Oh, I'm from South America too.
Oh, nice. What part?
British Guyana.
Oh,
But I have an advantage. We speak English there.
Yeah, yeah. After Colombia, I lived in Miami. I went to college in Baltimore, and then went to New York. My first job was at MTV, so I was doing graphics and effects for MTV, and then I moved to Los Angeles and I worked as an art director, and then created my own company. And so I did a lot of VFX for companies, and now I am applying all the knowledge to my films, which has a lot of sci-fi and action, and to make exciting projects like James Cameron, George Lucas, and Steven Spielberg. So that's my goal.
Exciting. And you know, I just spoke with someone earlier today. I've actually been speaking to people all day. And the one common thread I hear amongst everyone I've spoken to is follow your passion. And obviously this is your passion also, just based on how you describe what you're doing.
Yes, totally. It's my passion. I don't see myself doing anything else. I don't see myself doing anything else in this life. So my goal is to be the next James Cameron one day. So I know I have a lot of work to do. I have too much work to do, but I'm working at it, and I'm not going to stop until I get there.
Okay, Mr. Future James Cameron, I gave you my card. Keep it. When you become James Cameron, don't forget this interview.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, and thank you for your time, and I can't wait to see what you did.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye.